Okay, Derbyites, it is actually Oscar weekend 2015. But Daniel, why the hell are we doing an Emmys slugfest right now? Please explain what's going on.
Well, I mean, everyone is just so tired of the Oscars. They actually, we're here to announce they just canceled them. Actually, there will be no Oscars this weekend, so no one bother watching. We're just moving on to Emmys because we're just going to pretend the Oscars don't exist anymore. No, the Emmys just, the Television Academy came out with these, a few little changes to, the Emmy voting and a couple little colossal changes to the Emmy
Little
process.
colossal, little colossal.
Colossal, yeah.
The voting procedures, the voting process, the eligibility, classifications, categories, new categories, redefined, reclassified categories. So it's a really huge kind of, I think overhaul might be slightly too big a word for it, but only slightly, because this is a fairly dramatic restructuring of how they're doing things.
No pun intended, yeah. And can I just also say, how rude is it of the Television Academy to just like jump in this weekend with this huge colossal news with the Oscars happening in a few days? It's like, Oscars, who gives a shit about the Oscars? Let's talk about Emmys. Like, we're already in Emmy season, and hallelujah for that. Very excited about the Emmy
They're
season.
awesome.
Well, because the
Yeah,
Emmys are
totally.
actually willing to change when the landscape changes. The
Yeah.
Oscars, it takes 10 to 15 years for the Oscars to change one. They added hairstyling to the title.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the big change of the decade for the
But
Emmys.
there's
Yeah.
still only three nominees in that category for God knows why.
Yeah, what? That is ridiculous. And that's why like the Emmys just keep coming up with new categories. Now we have variety talk and variety sketch. And next year we're going to have variety something else. And they just keep changing things up and adding more categories.
Best animal in a variety series.
Best animal, exactly. And it'll be a very competitive category, I'm sure.
No
But yeah,
performer, even when they have variety animal.
yeah, I mean, oh God. There's just so much to choose from on TV these days. And that's awesome. But I am still reeling from this. I went to bed last night thinking that the world was okay and we were all at peace. And then I woke up this morning to 27 emails from you guys freaking out over this news. And I'm in bed, half asleep, just like, what the F is going on? Oh my God, all these changes. In look, secretly, we already knew this was happening. So let's be honest. But
We did. We already knew this.
we already knew it. We already knew it. We thought we'd keep it to ourselves, but obviously this was then scooped by other publications, and so now we can talk about it freely. And we don't really know where to begin, right? What should we talk about first, Marcus? Like, what's the big one?
Well, I think we should just start with the voting because the voting is different now. Like in the past, Daniel, you might be able to explain this more, but in the past, everyone kind of voted for the nominations, right? Or at least peer groups did, like actors voted for actors, writers for writers, blah, blah, blah. But now, and then after that phase, it went to a tiny little panel where it would maybe be 70 people picking best actor in a drama series. But now, what's changed here, Daniel?
Well, now they've opened it up that anyone who was eligible to vote for a category in the nominations round will be able to potentially vote in the winners round if they watch the submissions, which will be available online, I believe, this year for the first time ever, and so that will open things up a great deal. Will instead of having little panels that are maybe 70, 80 people. We're going to have panels that, and it's hard to predict this because, of course, this is new, but we could have hundreds of people, voting in categories. This could potentially, with that broadened voting base, we could see the end of the kind of surprising winners like Merrick Weaver and Melissa McCarthy and those sorts of things that
Barry
really come.
Pepper.
Barry Pepper, we could see the end of some of those, or maybe not. Maybe they'll watch all the episodes. Maybe we'll see more surprises for these lesser known actors who really bring it with whatever episodes they submit. So it's entirely hypothetical at this point. It's entirely speculation because we will not have seen how this plays out until September.
And since the episode submissions are online now, do you guys think that means that maybe younger people will start voting, and maybe things like younger skewing shows like Orange is the New Black maybe will win now. Older skewing shows like Modern Family maybe won't win.
I don't know about that. I think I don't think the age group is going to be really affected by this. I think in general the TV Academy will still be made up primarily of older people, and I don't really see it affecting it to an amount where it could actually produce those types of victories.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on that. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, but what it does mean to me is that when we're talking about the Emmys going forward for the next few months, we won't be able to draw much on recent history because things will have changed. And I don't know to what degree and what scope things will have changed, but we can't say like we used to, like last year, in the best actor category, there are 60 to 70 people voting and they're watching all the submissions. Now we don't know. It's really, really unknown. And that's what is kind of slightly freaking me out a bit about this. But it could be a good thing, I don't know.
I don't know. I think there is something to saying that now that stuff is online, that a younger demographic will go for it. I think that's why Nielsen had to bring in 3 days afterwards to see what's on DVR and go online and track what, in terms of ratings, what's on DVR, because the 18 to 34 demographic is so strong and such a big indicator here in Hollywood of how your show is going to do. So I think, it going online and a younger audience would much. I mean, come on, guys. Would you guys? Well, except for Rob because he's a little older. But would you guys really want to? Would you guys want to vote on a paper ballot and stick in a DVD? Or would you go? Or if you're online, would it be easier to watch the episodes? You finish online, and at the end of it, it says you watched all 5 or 6. Who are you voting for? And you just click and you push send, and it's good to go, rather than having to put it in an envelope, go to the mailbox, put it in the mail, or go to the Academy and drop it off. I think it brings in a whole new demographic, and I think it's good news for shows like Game of Thrones. And I think it's good news for shows like Jane the Virgin if they are able to get into any of the categories. So yeah, I think for sure. I think just old people think that it's not going to help young people. Rob?
Can I just say one thing? Everybody take a drink because Ralph said Jane the Virgin. Okay, drink up. That's not drink number 1 for this podcast, for this slugfest. Please continue, Charlie. Thank you. And if there's an ouzo mentioned, that's the full bottle. All right, go ahead.
Yep.
What about Tatiana? Let's not leave her out. She's number 1.
Don't worry, we're not leaving you out. We're gonna start shooting heroin if we start doing that.
Yeah.
I got my guy Snake on the just to the side here. He's gonna help me out.
So does Rob.
But he has actual snakes. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
My problem with the logic there is that the voting members of the Academy, I have a feeling, are still going to skew much older, and so So that's where I think the logic to this. If there was a sizable enough younger contingent that would be voting within the Television Academy, if there was a more sizable contingent there of let's say the 18 to 34 demographic, then I think yes, there would be that this would have a significant impact on that.
And I just want to
go ahead. Yeah. No, I was just wrapping it up. Go ahead.
If Gina Rodriguez does not get a nomination, I think that's the end of the CW in terms of people ever predicting.
Just give up.
Don't ever predict anything from the CW again, because this is their one shot that this is the strongest chance they've ever had, and she doesn't get in.
Well, it's a great transition because they actually have a hurdle now. I mean, they have since they're an hour show, they are now not considered a comedy by the end. They are now a drama.
Talk about that. Let's talk about that elephant in the room. That 30-minute, 60-minute thing is blowing my mind. It's just crazy that they've decided to go down that road.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. If they really wanted to separate it that way, you should have outstanding short-form series and outstanding long-form series. Yeah. Not this crazy separation, because it also shows just the degree of where television is now. And I've gotten to this argument with several of you. We talk about shows like Nurse Jackie, Transparent. All these other half-hour shows that kind of walk the line. They're not. A lot of people say they're not comedies, well, they're not straight dramas either. They have quite a bit of nuance to them, and several of them present things in quite an absurd way, sort of like Orange is the New Black or Shameless, and you take on the whole dysfunctional family dynamic. You have it's that this thing brings in that way. I think it's just a disservice to the true amazing level that television has gotten to at this point.
Right.
Yeah, the sophisticated level of television, and how it's so hard to categorize and classify works of art, which is why perhaps maybe we need to have a top 10 series category then, if they're so worried about the distinction between comedy and drama and dramedy and whatever. The 30-minute, 60-minute thing is ludicrous and outrageous. I understand what they're trying to do, because what they're trying to do with all of these rules is they're trying to curb the category fraud that we've seen in the last few years. And we'll talk about True Detective and American Horror Story and things like that later, and Fargo. But this comedy drama thing, it should be back to what it was last year and the year before, and it should be a discretionary thing up to the Academy to decide, like they did with Shameless. But I guess this is probably, a starting point, and then they get to use their discretion if someone makes submissions, right? So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm at a I'll believe it when I see it kind of phase with this particular rule, because in there they've sort of built into that rule a takebacks kind of clause, where it's like, okay, half-hour shows are comedies, hour-long shows are dramas, unless you ask us nicely.
It's true.
That's exactly what's been going on with the best miniseries category for years. Is they've had this very specific list of rules, like, a created by credit, a continuous storyline, all this sort of stuff that says this is a series, this is a miniseries. But if you ask for a special exemption, we might let you in. And through that process, they made exceptions to every single rule they had, sometimes all at once. Shows like Luther and The Hour do not fit their qualifications for a miniseries in any sense, and they still got in. So I think, honestly, unless we see them take a hard line and force Orange is the New Black into drama and say, no, we had this rule, you're a drama now. Say that to Shameless. Unless we see that happen, I'm going to be skeptical. I'm not necessarily sure I believe it. For now, I'm just going to move forward operating under the assumption that these shows that have gone comedy and have wanted to go comedy will still be allowed to.
Yeah,
right.
Because we were arguing about that before, and debating it, I should say, about whether if Orange is the New Black was a comedy, will it now become a drama because of 60 minutes? But isn't there the other rule that if you've been nominated as a comedy or a drama before, you generally can't switch? I mean, Shameless, that's the exception. But there's always been this rule, because I've been speaking to people from Showtime and other networks over the years who have tried to do this switch and weren't able to because of that rule. Like Boston Legal has, maybe it could have easily have gone between drama and comedy over the seasons, and it wasn't able to, because once it got nominated in one category, it had to stay there. Now, surely that's still going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
In this press release that was released today, they said that there's going to be a 9-member panel that will include 5 industry leaders and 4 appointees from the Board of Governors. This 9-person panel is the ones that decides whether you are a comedy or a drama, in terms of producers that want to petition on the opposite side. I really don't think this is going to be an issue. I think Orange is the New Black was a comedy. I think it'll stay a comedy. Shameless switched to comedy last year. I don't see it switching back. I mean, look at a show like In Treatment. That was a half-hour comedy series. There's no way in a million years that would be considered comedy. They would make that exception. I think maybe people are overreacting to this rule a little too much. I think, like Daniel said, it's kind of a wait-and-see thing. Let's make our complaints after the nominations come out, and we see things like Mad Men going comedy, or Girls going miniseries. Then we can complain. But until then, I think it'll be kind of like it used to, with that weird exception about the 30 versus 60 minutes. That just came out of nowhere. It's like somebody's grandpa is like, well, when I was a kid, comedies were 30 minutes. That's kind of what that feels like.
See, and I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that they're going to be as lenient as you guys are saying. I think the fact that they made this rule, they made it because shows like Shameless and like Orange Is the New Black were in those categories. And I think if they do let them go in front of the committee and let them go back into comedy, all it's going to do is make people wonder why the hell they made the rule in the first place then, because those are really technically the only two shows that kind of matter on the comedy side that would go drama. I mean, they have to have made this rule for some reason. Jane the Virgin is the biggest one that they're hurting because, you know, that's the only new 1 hour show that could go that's considered a dramedy. So I think they're going to use one of those. They'll probably let maybe Orange back in or Shameless. I think maybe they'll let one in, but they'll use the other one as an example of this is our new rule and this is why we're sticking to it. And I think it'll surprise a lot of people.
I think that something is driving this. What was driving this particular rule change? Obviously, they've been talking about it for a while, but something has been a catalyst for them to say enough is enough. We have to do something about all these dramedies that have been flooding the comedy series category because it's less competitive. And I think it was probably the Orange Is the New Black type scenario, because Jane the Virgin to me seems way more safe as it gets. It's similar type of storytelling. It's kind of light and it's funny, but it's not laugh out loud funny all the time. It's a lot like Ugly Betty, and no one ever quibbled with Ugly Betty in the comedy category. So I think this is more of an Orange situation, because Orange Is the New Black can be very dark. So
yeah, just like Desperate Housewives was. I mean, that wasn't laugh out loud funny ever.
No.
I mean, that definitely should have gone drama and could have gone drama. So that's why I'm saying I think they made this rule and they're going to stick to their guns at some point and it's going to surprise us all. And I think maybe it's because they were like, hey, Allison Janney is probably going to beat Uzo Aduba. She'll have an easier time on the drama side. Let's just move it over to the drama. I was doing that so you guys could drink. I think you all need to drink. So.
Definitely, yeah.
So another switch, this one is less controversial. I think most people agree with this. Instead of 6 nominations for Best Comedy and Best Drama, we now have 7. I love this. I think TV nowadays is so much better than it used to be. We need those extra spaces for things that get snubbed every year.
Well, why not 10 then? Why not just go to 10? Or do what that stupid thing the Oscars do where, you know, it's between 5 and 10.
Well, they are invoking that 2% rule, so it could be as many as 9.
It could be 8, 9. Yeah, true. That's true. And that's great. It's all good. That's good news. No matter how you look at it, it's good news because there's always, especially on the drama side, there's always something that gets snubbed. And now there's more opportunity for these shows to be nominated.
And this is great news.
To get snubbed again.
Yeah, my concern with this is that we're not going to see, 7 nominees, so suddenly Community gets in. We're going to see Best Comedy Series nominee Mike and Molly. That's the that we're going to.
Yeah, that's the Oscars problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is great news for something like Better Call Saul because with only 6, maybe it's too new. Maybe it wouldn't have got in. But with 7, and with Breaking Bad not in this year, and what else is out? True Detective is out. There's going to be that extra slot that's going to go maybe to a new show, maybe like Empire, maybe How to Get Away with Murder, maybe a really, really popular show that wouldn't have got in. Now that extra spot is going to open the door. Maybe The Affair, Golden Globe winner The Affair can get in now.
Yeah. It's not the first time we've had 7. We had 7 I think we've never had 8, but we've had 7 once or twice in the last 10 years. I remember when the year that Big Love made it was the only nomination they received, I think, that year. It was the 7th nominee. So it does happen when the voting is close, and so at least now we're guaranteed to get 7. We may even get 8. We may even get 9. So that's fantastic news.
It's also how Family Guy got in there because they had just done the extension to 6, and with several other ones that were there for the first time, like How I Met Your Mother and Flight of the Conchords.
I wish they would have extended the acting categories as well. That even the writing, directing categories, they should have done it across the board. But I guess one thing at a time. I guess maybe they're trying to see how this plans out. And the series categories are the most important, and what everyone wants to be expanded anyway. So.
Or at least extend drama actress at least. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Selfish.
I wonder why. Like, why would they tell?
Why? From a purely selfish reason, I'm glad there's only 6 actors and actresses because here at Gold Derby, the editors watch every single submission.
Yeah, it's a pain.
And
That's true.
right now, it's monumental getting through all of those. If there were
Oh,
7,
it is.
And not only watch, we have to write episode analysis on each one.
which we love doing.
I love doing
I love
that.
it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we move on to what I care about the most? Because I'm still a bit confused about the limited series categories. They've gone back to what it used to be called, I think, in the 80s, and what the Golden Globes did this year. It's a good move. I don't think it matters whether it's called a mini series or a limited series. What's the point? I'm not quite sure. But can someone explain to me? Does it make any bloody difference at all to things like True Detective and Fargo and American Horror Story, or does it not?
Well, this
Answer me
prevents True Detective from going into drama because now they've defined. I know they always break their definitions, but they've defined limited series as programs of 2 or more episodes with a total running time of at least 150 minutes that tells a complete non-recurring story and does not have ongoing storyline and or main characters. Blah 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 blah. In other words, this is the True Detective rule. This was created so that True Detective would not go into drama.
Great. That makes me very happy. And that means American Horror Story is safe in the limited series category then, because that would fit. Yeah. And I guess Fargo belongs there too. So you're right, Marcus. This is really all about True Detective. Yeah, HBO making that call, surprising call, to put True Detective in drama. It did very well because everyone was sucking up to the big movie stars and to the people behind that show and to HBO. And it took nominations away from other drama series that are there year in after year who didn't get those nominations. So that's great. Happy. Tick.
Yeah. It's rare when the Emmys actually copy the Golden Globes, but I'm glad they did this year.
Yeah. Anyone have a comment? Anyone care? Does anyone care?
There's one other rule we haven't discussed. It was the guest acting change, which I think was the smartest thing they've done. It's clear, it's simple, it's clearly defined, and it makes sense. Is that to compete in the guest acting category, you are not allowed to appear in more than 50% of episodes of your series. So if you're a show with like a British show with 6 episodes, 3 episodes is your limit. If you're The Good Wife, 11 episodes, and then I guess would be your limit. And it makes sense because it considers in a very concrete way the different kinds of episode lengths and season lengths of various kinds of TV shows now. So many shows are 8 episodes and 10 episodes and 12 episodes or 24 episodes. So this is very simple math that makes perfect sense, and it stops a lot of the ridiculousness we've been seeing where just essentially regular actors who just aren't billed as regular actors just get guest acting nominations year after year, like Joan Cusack year after year. When let's face it, you are a regular actor, you're in the majority of episodes. Robert Morse for Mad Men, who obviously that's not a factor for anymore. But
and let's be clear that it's not that you can't appear in more than 50% of your show. The actual wording is performers appearing in less than 50% of a program's episode. So what I assume that means is if you have a 10-episode season and you're in 5 episodes, that's 50%. You have to be less than 50, which means you have to be in 4 episodes. So it's not over 50%. It's less than 50%.
But it's still clear math. It's very clear.
Yeah, the math is clear. Yeah, I'm just getting the wording right so nobody gets confused.
Gotcha.
But it's like the old 6-episode rule. It used to be 6 episodes. If you're more than 6 episodes, then you're not a guest. And that means, like last year, Uzo Aduba and Natasha Lyonne and the other one, I've forgotten her name. They would not have been nominated, right? Because even if they were in one scene, they're in that episode. It makes it clearer. 3
of the 4 winners in the guest categories last year would not be eligible under this rule. Uzo Aduba, she won for the comedy guest actress. She would not be eligible because I think she was in every episode or every one except for one maybe. Joe Morton was in every episode of Scandal, but he won in the guest category. And then Allison Janney, I think she was in either exactly half or maybe one over the half mark. So of last year's guest winners, only Jimmy Fallon would still win under this rule, which is absolutely crazy. This is going to be a huge overhaul. But it's the right rule.
I mean, like, you look at some of the more recent wins in this category. One win that would not not be if you retroactively put these rules into effect. Is a win that was very celebrated was John Lithgow for Dexter. Even though he was only in there for that one season, he was in almost every episode, and so he wouldn't be eligible under these standards.
He probably could have won supporting for that performance.
Yeah, he probably could have.
Golden Globes. I thought it was really silly that he went a guest at the Emmys. I mean, just look
that
at.
Makes sense.
No, it didn't.
He was supporting.
Margot Martindale is, I think, the applicable comparison to John Lithgow. The type of role that they had, they dominated the season, even though they were only in it for that season. There's nothing guessed about that performance. It was a one-season supporting role, and I think he probably could have won for that in supporting anyway if they hadn't gone guest.
Yeah, and vice versa. I wonder if it matters if you're in less than 50%, do you have to go guest or can you go supporting? Because remember when Stockard Channing used to do 3 episodes of The West Wing out of 22, and she would go into supporting, and Holland Taylor from The Practice would be a judge on The Practice for 5 seconds and would get a supporting actress nomination. I wonder if you have to go into guest or not. That's what I'm trying to work it out. We probably won't know that until maybe we can make some inquiries with the Academy. Maybe Chris might do that. But that's really interesting. And the other thing I was thinking is they've made all these really awesome changes, just speaking of the guest categories, and yet they still haven't addressed the issue of having Saturday Night Live performers in the comedy guest categories. I know it's only 1 episode, but really we need to reinstate the performance in a variety category for once and for all to allow hosts and sketch performers, one-time sketch performers, to compete amongst themselves to free up the comedy guest categories for actual guest performances in comedy series as opposed to variety series. They still won't go there, and that's really annoying.
And they have no problem. They have no problem creating new categories. I mean, last year they created, or they split up reality into structured and unstructured. Very, very silly.
This year, they split up variety this year too. Yeah.
Right. So they have no problem doing this. I don't know what they have against the individual performers, but there's something against them.
Voiceover categories, but they don't think
2 voices.
One. They don't think they need one variety. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It just drives me crazy.
You know, one of our forum posters, John Kubicek, he said that using this 50% rule, 10 of last year's 24 nominees would have been ineligible. And in drama alone, over the past 2 years, 13 of the 24 guest noms wouldn't have gotten in. That's crazy.
Right.
It is crazy.
And it's going to make me change my predictions because I was predicting in my own head, the Prediction Center Gold Order just opened, so everyone should go there and pick the Emmys. But in my head, I was predicting Lorraine Toussaint to win for comedy guest actress because it was a one-season role from what I know. And now she was in every episode or almost every episode. Lorraine Toussaint will be entered in supporting now. Can she
drama?
Though it may be in drama, maybe in comedy. We don't know. But Ralph, I'll come to you. You're the expert. Lorraine Toussaint versus Uzo Aduba, who would win now?
Who do I want to win, or who would win?
No, we know who you want.
We know you want Tatiana to win that one as well. But
all the awards, Tatiana and Emmy Rossum can split all the Emmys, and I'll be good.
And then maybe Joan Cusack would be in that category too.
Yeah, she would likely be in there as well. Well, I mean, no, she's only been in 3 episodes of Shameless this season, so if she's in 2 more, she's good. There's 11 episodes this season, so she's got a two episode curtain there. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it would depend on what drama really helps Lorraine Toussaint a lot. You know, Uzo is great in the season finale of season 2, and I think that should be her episode regardless of the category she goes into, or I'm sorry, the genre she goes into. But Lorraine Toussaint was pretty knocked out in a lot of episodes. So, I mean, I don't know. And we still have, I mean, there's Christine Baranski who's overdue. I mean, she could have a killer episode for The Good Wife coming up. So, you know, there's a lot of, or as Daniel pointed out, the ever loved
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith, thank you, from I was going to say Gosford Park, which is correct.
Yeah.
Completely just opposite.
The series, yeah.
Of Down is supposed to have a great year this year, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's all these changes are crazy, but I think they're a lot of fun, and I'm glad that they're happening and giving us something to talk about.
I'm really bummed that Breaking Bad's over, but from an Emmy perspective, I love that it's out of these categories.
Me
because
too.
We're gonna have new winners, a ton of new winners on the drama side
Yeah.
this year. It's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah,
And not,
totally.
just consider, just drama lead actor alone, we've lost Bryan Cranston and the two True Detective slots, and you've got, even the people who are coming back aren't necessarily going to come back. We don't know necessarily that Jeff Daniels comes back for that final season of The Newsroom, although he must be breathing a sigh of relief. How many people are not coming back in this category?
Yeah.
He might just slide in there by default, just because he's been there before.
Can John Hamm finally win? We're gonna pull for him at Gold.
Oh God, we should be banging that drum from now until September. Really, Thank you for reminding me. It's now or never for a lot of those guys.
I think also with the freeing up in the lead actor slot, I think one person who could actually, I'm not going to say he's safe, but has a really good chance is Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul. I mean, the way that the direction that we've seen the show going in so far, I think I don't know about the series, but I think especially with the way that lead actor has been freed up, half nominees are not returning. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if he can get in there for a nomination.
And let's just clear something up about Better Call Saul right now, because we had this morning is when we finally got the confirmation. So we've been going back and forth with the award publicist at AMC, and he told us that he was not sure if Better Call Saul was going to go comedy or drama. There was a 50-50 chance that they were leaning one way or the other. They were split completely after the premiere that Marcus and I and Tom went to. And I emailed all of you guys and let you know. And then he came back and said they're leaning more 90% drama, 10% comedy. And now he emailed me today. He's the one who actually sent me the link right away for that story, saying that Better Call Saul is now officially in drama. So it's officially a drama unless they decide to edit it down into half hours. And then
it is a drama, everybody. So just calm down.
But it could have been
they edit it down to a separate show.
Like when Ally McBeal
cut... Better Call Saul Happy Fun Time Variety Hour.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys remember when Ally McBeal, after it won Best Comedy in season 2, in season 3, it came out with like a spin-off show called Ally. It was a half-hour long.
Yeah, because Fox just wanted to milk it a bit more, and it was a disaster, which was like, Just briefly, on the variety sketch split, they're doing the variety sketch category during the Creative Arts Emmys and the variety talk during the live telecast on Emmy night. And I suppose the whole point of that is so that they can nominate things like Saturday Night Live, Portlandia, the Amy Schumer Show, and Broad City, and things like that. And then they can have the Bill Maher's versus the Jimmy Fallons and all those other guys on the live telecast. Was there really a necessity for this? Like, is there really 50 sketch shows that are worthy of an Emmy nomination that they needed to have a category for it? What are they doing?
I'm actually excited for this because there is such, they are so locked in place they're so set in their ways on the variety category that these great news, and there's been sort of a renaissance of these sketch comedy shows on Comedy Central, especially in recent years, and FC with Portlandia and you've got Inside Amy
Hill.
These shows, they broke into writing last year, but they just the voters are so locked into those 5 talk shows and Saturday Night Live that this is going to open up a lot. Like I think this is a better change than like last year when they changed reality show so that now the Wahlburgers can get a nomination. Actually going to be we're going to see really exciting nominees in that sketch category, I think.
I think what I know, Rob, you particularly maybe don't like it, but I think that specifically on the comedy side, I think we're going to get back, as long as the Emmys stick to their guns and don't let Orange is the New Black or Shameless or maybe just one of them back into comedy. If they're out, that leaves Orange is the New Black slots open in comedy actress and comedy series, and it adds a 7th nominee in there. So I think you can get shows that are those half hours, like The Middle, the Goldbergs, Fresh Off the Boat, who has Constance Wu, who I think deserves a massive amount of Emmy attention. I mean, you get those type of shows back in there rather than the Orange is the New Blacks, the kind of highly touted talked about Netflix shows or ones that are 1-hour dramedies. I think you kind of get back to the old days of half-hour sitcoms. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, but they just didn't think it through all the way.
It could also mean we see 2.5 Men come back too, because it's the final year.
Oh God!
Don't count something like that out.
Shit.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just ruined the mood, everybody.
That's terrifying. God's sake. But it does, and it does remind me of 1997 a little bit. How like they obviously want to see a lot of multicam half-hour shows nominated, and all those really interesting, well-written hour shows. You're just punched off to the very ridiculously competitive drama series category, unless you can convince us that you are so laugh-out-loud funny that you deserve to come back in comedy. So you know what it all means? It means that we're going to be doing a lot of work between now and July, trying to work out where everything is going to be categorized, not only the series but also the actors, because there'll be some actors where we think you could probably go supporting if you wanted to. You could probably go guest if you wanted to, but you may want to go supporting. Like, there's going to be a lot of up in the airs, and that just means more work for us. Yay.
Well, I mean, we'll find out like definitively before the nominations, because we will get those ballots out a few weeks in advance, and so we'll at least it won't be like on Emmy morning. We'll be like, so is Orange is the New Black a comedy today, or is
Well, I'm sure we'll know even way before that, because they're going to have to make it like they did with Shameless last year. Remember how much press it got that it was switching over from drama to comedy? It's going to be the same thing. And I think we're going to be able to know. I know for a fact that we will be the first to know if Jane the Virgin gets to go comedy or not.
Ooh, scoop.
I think you will be
Let's
the first to
write
know.
2 articles right now. Let's write, Jane the Virgin enters drama, and then Jane the Virgin enters comedy. So right when we know, we'll just activate the correct one.
Yeah.
Then we'll really be first.
Yeah. Let's also write a 3rd article saying, oh my God, Jane the Virgin was snubbed. Will the CW ever receive an Emmy nomination? Let's do that one. I think that one, the one that's going to go online. That's what I'm worried about. Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting, because the CW obviously was is the bastard child of WB and UPN, and so if you consider the history of those 3 networks going back almost 20 years now, 1 acting nomination ever for any of those networks was for James Earl Jones for guest actor for Everwood. That's it. And he got in for being James Earl Jones, certainly.
Right.
So Jane the Virgin, I'm just saying to the casting directors on Jane the Virgin, if James Earl Jones is available, you might
Get him.
Get him, yeah.
Hey, they have Rita Moreno coming on to play her grandmother. She's an EGOT winner, so that's a name checker right there. But yeah, I mean, how pissed do you have to be if you're the CW? You have this awesome chance now. You've got a Golden Globe nominated show, Golden Globe winning actress. You're all revved up to have this comedy campaign, one that you've never had before, and then all of a sudden the Emmys say, well, you got to be a half an hour. And you're like, what the hell is going on?
So
that
unfair.
Amazon has only been making shows for 2 years, and Transparent's going to get in like nobody's
problem.
business. And here you are, the CW, you've been on for 20 years combined, and you're struggling to get your first nomination. You're a damn network, and you can't. An online distribution goods center is going to get a nomination for you. It's crazy.
And the CW have other shows. Like they actually air some generally good quality shows for that market. Not that I've seen any of them, but they actually have other shows, and they have in the past, like the WB and the UPN did, obviously, as well, and yet Emmy voters didn't take them seriously at all. And if the CW changed its name and became something else and was on cable, it might have probably done better. But for whatever reason, Emmy voters don't get that on their televisions. They don't even know what it is, which is just crazy. So hopefully that will change. So we'll be watching that one closely. Along with things like, let's be honest, I'm not making a joke here, something like Tatiana Maslany, who is on BBC America. It's a small network as well, a small cable network. It's only really ever made an impact in the now limited series categories. And will she actually now follow her SAG nom with an Emmy nomination? There's a lot of questions that we're going to have leading up to the nominations announcement in the next few months.
I don't get how that was supposed to be a joke.
No, I'm saying I just didn't want to make a joke. I was like, I didn't want to make a joke because every time we say Tatiana, we're really just making fun of her. But,
I thought it was hilarious.
maybe CW should change its network name to like AMCW and see if
AMCW. That's perfect. Love it.
AMCW Flicks. Yeah.
Something like anything just to help the boys and get in there.
Prime, AMCW Flix Prime. Let's just put it out there.
AMCW Flix Prime BO.
Yeah, they should stream it only and not have it on TV, and it would do so well. It would go gangbusters. But yeah.
So what do you guys think? With it now being 7 nominees each, what do you guys think would get in for drama and comedy? I'm just throwing it out to you guys. I know you haven't had a chance to look at the list. You don't really know what's coming up. But I mean, we already know on the drama side, Game of Thrones will be back in, House of Cards will be back in. You know, maybe The Good Wife will finally sneak a nomination in there. There are 3 open slots.
Great. That would be
on
so
the drama
great.
side.
That's all I care about. That's all I care about. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to go down there, but I'm telling you now, as soon as I saw that email this morning, obviously the first thing I thought of was, does that mean now that a network show such as The Good Wife might actually make it back in drama series where it belongs?
Are we going to take over Gold Derby and make it the Hannibal and Jane the Virgin Derby only, so that Hannibal can get in there?
Well, Hannibal won't be eligible this year, which sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. So we have to wait until the following Emmy season. So that, I mean, yeah. Let's not even go there because that really upsets me.
Wait, Hannibal's not comedy?
No, it's hilarious.
60 minutes.
60 minutes. So no.
It's a variety series.
Mad Men will be back.
There's a lot of variety. Mad Men will be back. Game of Thrones will be back. House of Cards will be back. Downton Abbey, God help us, will be back. What else?
So of the six nominees last year, the only True Detective's out because it's not going to air.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
And Breaking Bad. So that means we will have 3 new nominees.
So who are the 3 do you guys think will get in there? Good Wife, we know you, Rob. What other 2?
I would say maybe Good Wife, Empire.
Possibly Empire, but I mean the reviews for Empire aren't that strong, right?
I would say The Affair too.
The Affair is a good shot. Yeah. Homeland, like, am I crazy? Like, is Homeland?
Yeah,
why not? Why not?
Yeah, right now I've got Homeland, The Affair, and that new Netflix show coming up called Bloodline.
Bloodline. I've got that in my predictions too. Yeah.
I've got.
If that's anywhere near as good as Damages, then that's going to do well.
So you guys are all mentioning this, but nobody's mentioned Orange is the New Black yet. Do you guys think it's not going to get a drama if it's going to be a drama?
I'm not convinced it's going to be a drama.
Exactly. That's a wait and see. For now, I'm assuming it's in comedy, but if it's
But you can't do that because if you go by the rules that were set out today, right now it's a drama until we hear it's a comedy. So you're proving it guilty before.
But what about the rule that you've been nominated before? So if you've been nominated as a comedy, you stay as a comedy. And so shouldn't we just, for the purposes of our prediction center, just assume it's in comedy until we are told for sure?
No, I don't think so. I think that would be wrong. I think we already had an awards publicist tell us the opposite. I think the new rule just said half an hour.
Publicists don't know shit all the time, Ralph. Like
the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline have all reported that this is going to affect Orange is the New Black and Shameless. I think we go with what's safe, and when we get confirmation, and then I think we go back to comedy because it's still going to have to go in front of a committee and plead its case.
Well, we need to wait and see. You know, for the purposes of our prediction center, I think it makes sense just to leave Orange is the New Black where it is, rather than because there's the possibility we move it to drama and then find out we have to move it back to comedy. So one way or another, we're going to find out whether it stays where it is or whether it moves. So that's where we're at right now. So I think So if it becomes a drama, I think there's enough room in that category and enough now obviously available real estate that it gets into drama series anyway. It might not get as many total nominations as it would have on the comedy side, but if it ends up classified as a drama, then I think it gets in.
Yeah. And then what about over on the comedy side? Transparent is getting in, right? Maybe in that new 7th slot.
Yeah, it's a half hour, right? Or is it an hour?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Hour.
It's half hour, so it looks pretty safe there. And what else? What else could get in? Like, if Jane the Virgin becomes a comedy, then if they watch the CW, then that's a possibility.
Yeah,
Nurse
that's
Jackie
gonna
go back in.
And all 6 from last year could come back: Modern Family, Big Bang Theory, Louie, Orange is the New Black. Who knows? Silicon Valley and Veep. Those are all half hours.
Did Louie air in this particular last year? I think it did, right?
Louis last year aired like May and June, so I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing this year, but I guess we don't know.
We don't know. Well,
I
what
know,
about the
that brings
comedians or that Lily Tomlin show? Like, there's a couple of new
I
cable
mean,
shows
there
coming
might
out.
be hope for a show like Looking on HBO, which
No.
Nah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
I don't know. I'm
nice.
just throwing things out there.
What
We've
about
had
girls?
7 nominees. Anything
Girls could
is
come back.
possible. Family
Girls could
Guy
come back.
got into this race. Flight of the
I think
Conchords got
girls
into this
could
race. Shows that I love. I am not knocking the shows, but they got in there because of these expanded slots. And let's not forget, Looking has HBO behind it. These are the savviest people around. They could
but it didn't
mount
get in last
something.
year, Charlie. Like, they
But
completely
so what didn't
overlooked
get in
Looking.
last year. When they expand the field, that
Yeah, all
opens
right,
up the slot.
don't get too excited. But no.
Sir, you
I'm
are out
saying
of
it's a
order. This
possibility.
whole chat is out of order.
Can you throw your laptop through a window? That's all.
What about Mom? Do you think Mom could get in? I know you guys.
No, I don't think Mom can get in.
No.
We
But I
need
don't
to
see
take
why
those
not.
discussions and take them before that 9-person Emmy
Yeah.
category death panel that
Panel.
Uh,
Oh man.
I would
it's
pay
gonna be
money.
good
I
stuff.
would pay money to see those deliberations.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be-
But I look. What we really need to know is: are they going to repeal the rule that says if you've been nominated as a comedy, you stay as a comedy? We need to know that. That is absolutely critical. And that will help us decide where is going what. It will help us decide whether Orange is staying where it is or not. And can someone please answer that and let us know ASAP?
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even in our write-up, Paul, who I imagine they had to have some kind of conversation before writing it up with somebody at the Academy. Even he said that now Orange and Shameless will be going drama unless they win the repeal with
Right.
the panel. So that's why I'm
Which
saying.
they might do.
Which they might, but
they might.
exactly. But we don't know. There's now seems like there's a lesser chance of them doing that than there was last year when Shameless did it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think we can discount the fact that we could have a lot of turnover here and have some
Insane.
surprise nominees. It's gonna be exciting and it's gonna be crazy. But I don't know, guys. This is the Oscars are happening on Sunday. Does anybody remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Oscar weekend.
Birdman, Boyhood.
Yeah.
Birdman,
Yeah.
Boyhood. I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay, so
Foxcatcher.
we have rambled way too long. We're probably boring our viewers, but thanks for watching our Emmy chat. Come back to Gold Derby on Sunday, February 22nd. We're going to have a huge Oscar chat before the show and after the show. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Okay, come see us then.